And then on Cuba, you're talking today about how some of these protests are inspired by people exhausted with the government. Why is it that yesterday the State Department was saying that this was all happening out of concern about rising COVID cases?
Well, I would say first that the protests were just happening yesterday. We're still assessing what is motivating and, of course, and driving all of the individuals who came to the streets. But we know that when we say exhaustion, the manner by which the people of Cuba are governed, that can cover a range of issues, whether it's economic suppression, media suppression, lack of access to health and medical supplies, including vaccines. There are a range of reasons and voices we're hearing from people on the ground who are protesting.
So when these protesters are yelling freedom and enough, there are people within the administration who think they're saying freedom from rising COVID cases.
Again, I would say that when people are out there in the streets protesting and complaining about the lack of access to economic prosperity, to the medical supplies they need, to a life they deserve to live, that can take on a range of meanings. There's a global pandemic right now. Most people in that country don't have access to vaccines. That certainly is something we'd love to help with. Go ahead.
A few months ago, when asked about Cuba policy, you said it was not a priority for the president to review U.S. policy toward Cuba. Do the events of this weekend change that?
Well, I would say, Kelly, that we, of course, are monitoring closely. You saw the statement the president, we put out in the president's name this morning, in his voice, of course, conveying his support for the people of Cuba, making clear that he doesn't support the approach of the government of Cuba, which he has never held back on. In terms of where it ranks in a priority order, I'm not in a position to offer that, but I can tell you that we will be closely engaged. We will be looking to provide support to the people of Cuba. We certainly, support the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, the freedom of when we believe they deserve to have access to the economic support, medical support, health supplies that many of them are asking for.
And on voting rights, Texas Democrats who have been working through their process, some of them plan to leave the state, come here. Is there any plan for the president or the political arm of the White House to meet with them? What can you update us on that?
I don't have any. Let me check on that for you, Kelly. It's certainly it's possible. There are people here who plan to meet with them, as we have in the past when other legislators have come to Washington. So let me see if there's a planned meeting with anyone from our team. Go ahead.
Back on Haiti for a second, and honing in on the question that Jonathan was asking. What's the status of the formal request that the U.S. send troops to Haiti? Is that still under analysis here?
That's correct. Still under review.
So it's not been ruled out?
No.